Okay, you've been hearing some useful things. I'm going to try to tell you something, well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some useless knowledge. And really, what I'm really going to be telling you about is a little bit about how your brain works. There's some kind of cool stuff. All right, so here's some really legitimately useless knowledge. Does any of you think that you can remember this, or will remember this tomorrow? Anyone? No volunteers? No? Yeah? Okay, great. I'm going to call on you. What's your name? Glenn. Okay, thank you. I'll ask you tomorrow. Okay, how about this guy? All right. Now, I'm not suggesting any of you is going to remember exactly every detail of this guy's face, but you're probably going to, you might be able to remember, oh yeah, it was a guy with a beard, he has some glasses on, a shirt, and scanning. Anyway, your brain seems to be able to hold on to things like this better than those other things. Why is that? How does your brain hold on to stuff? Is it like a library where you put your knowledge on the shelves and we just have more space for certain kinds of things? It's not. It's nothing like that. Your brain does not work that way with storing knowledge. Okay? Your brain, in fact, is an organ like an arm or a foot or a kidney, and it just happens to have evolved in a very useful way to help you evolve from jaguars. Okay? To help you run away from jaguars. And the same way your legs do. Okay? How is it your brain can help you get away from jaguars? All right? So we have adaptations, like this guy has stinky pustules all over his body, right? Over millennia, we can evolve things that help us get away from jaguars. But it turns out that our brains have an amazing ability, right? Rather than evolving over millennia, they can evolve in minutes. All right, this little guy just had the idea, I'm going to jump into my car, okay? So the idea here is that our brains can actually rewire themselves, okay? You can change how your own brain works, all right? And that's a pretty remarkable thing. Nowadays, what you're running away from is not jaguars, instead it's people like me, right? It's your college professor, right? Hopefully, you're not actually running away from them. Hopefully, instead, what you're doing is learning this stuff. So you're succeeding at the test. Anyway, somehow you're getting away from these perils by rewiring your own brain. Okay, so take a look at these faces. Do you recognize any of these faces? Yeah. Yes, okay, some of you recognize at least one of these faces, right? So now you pick that out really quickly, all right? How is it that you picked out that one face really quickly from all the rest of you? For those of you who didn't see it, it was Barack Obama. Okay? So how are the faces over here different from the visual data? What is it about the way your brain is currently wired that allows it to do this? Right? What you have done is you've developed these patterns in your brain so that when you look at that stuff, you don't see all the normal stuff. You see the weird stuff. What's weird about him? He's missing a tooth. Okay, you have patterns in your brain that allow you to look past the ordinary stuff and see the part that's different. When you apply those patterns to different areas of your human knowledge, that's when you get some insight. Okay, so look, this is a building, but it kind of looks like a little face over here. This guy looks a little bit like a face as well, right? You can use the face pattern even on pictures that aren't actually faces, all right? When you use patterns from one domain, from one area, on something totally different, that's what we call an aha moment. That's when you have insight, when you realize, wait a minute, I already understand this problem over here because it's like this other problem that's over here. So here's a kind of a random example. A guy who likes paper airplanes, who actually, it just turns out, discovered a whole new kind of airfoil. This is called the Klein-Vogelmann airfoil. So he's playing around with one thing, and he discovers that this has something to do with a totally different area of his knowledge. It turns out that there's a particular part of your brain, the right temporal lobe, which in experiments is shown to light up when it's saying, whoa, this problem over here is just like that other problem over here. I just had an insight, right? I just created some new knowledge. So the question is, how can you do something cool with this? What can you do with this amazing ability that you have to rewire your own brain? Right? And the answer is, learn something random. Okay? Don't just make up your own area of study. Don't just learn the stuff that you have to, because the stuff that you're interested in, right? Knitting, or dancing, or music, especially music. Did I say music? Is really important. Okay, so 70 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the principle that all men are created equal. All right. Was that online? Could you look that up on Google? Yes, you could. Okay? Like Sergey Brin says, Google is the third half of your brain. No, it's not. Okay? Because actually learning something is when you use that knowledge to rewire your own brain and you really understand something, okay? Instead of just letting it sit there. So the way that things really come